Good afternoon. Welcome to the marketplace. Coming up this afternoon, disruptions in data and internet services across the country. The Telecoms Chamber attributes challenges to outages on multiple submarine optic fiber cables. We'll give you a rundown. Also coming up, Minister of Transport Kwawu summoned to provide urgent answers to members of Parliament over new charges by the Ghana Airport Company as maintenance fees.
I think that the Minister for Transport will have to be hauled by you to this House to explain the authority of the Ghana Airport Company and to explain to Ghanaians where he derives the authority and mandate from and whether this is consistent with our Fees and Charges Act.
Also coming up, price of a bag of cocoa up by 63%, yet government has been unable to export more beans as smuggling, inadequate purchasing funds, galamsey plus other factors create demand and supply challenges. This afternoon we ask whether the decision to increase the price per bag by more than 60% was just a political move. My name is Daryl. Kwawu. Thanks for joining us. Details coming up. And thanks for staying with us, everyone. There are disruptions in data and internet services across the country. So if you're not alone if you're having challenges with your internet, if your internet is acting up today, Joy Business understands the disruptions as a result of outages on multiple submarine optic fiber cables that come into Ghana. Joining me on phone to give us a sense of what is happening is Samuel Douna, who is managing editor of Tech GH24. Thanks for your time. We wanted to do this on Zoom, but obviously we cannot because of the internet disruptions. How widespread are these challenges and what services are affected, Samuel?
Thank you very much, Daryl. So my platform is now Tech Focus 24. It's not no more Tech G24, just a small correction. So, yes, I mean, as all the telcos have all informed us, even the telecom team has also informed us, there's been some sort of like fiber cut on some of the submarine cables that come into Ghana. And this time, not just one of them, but a number of them. So that is what is causing the kind of challenges that we are having. I mean, when it happens that way, sometimes when the telcos do so then whatever capacity, whatever services they have on that cable, they are redundant cable. But then that also takes time. So then, because of the delays in that transition, that's why we are having the kind of challenges we're having. So the outage that is happening, if you notice, it is not sort of like a continuous kind of outage. You get service sometime, and then it goes off sometime. So it's sort of like they are working on it. As they are working on it. So sometimes we get service, and sometimes we are not getting them. The main services that have been affected are data services, and of course, voice over internet. That's why we couldn't do the Zoom. That's why when you try to make a call through maybe WhatsApp or Telegram or anything, it won't go. So basically, it's the data. And if you want me to share something on the specific in terms of which cables have been affected, we can talk about that as well.
Yeah, well, in the last few hours, we've heard from the Telecoms Chamber giving the same explanation that you have been given. I also want to read a statement from the National Communications Authority saying that we regret to inform the general public that multiple undersea cable disruptions have affected mobile and fixed data services nationwide. The disruptions affecting multiple undersea cables responsible for carrying international traffic have occurred in Senegal and Cote d'Ivoire, with some disruptions in Portugal. This has led to significant degradation of data services across the country. And so that's a bit of it. It says that it is monitoring the situation and will update the public accordingly. How are telecom companies and data service providers reacting to this challenge?
Good. So like the NTA rightly said, you mentioned the sources of the cable. So the cables that have been affected mainly are the what we call the ACE cable coming from Senegal through Cote d'Ivoire. So the challenge, I am told, has happened specifically in Abidjan. So the cable, the fiber cut is happening somewhere in Abidjan. So of course, anybody on that route to Ghana, all the way to wherever the ACE cable is going, then of course we'll be affected. So that's why Ghana, every network that is connected to the ACE cable has been affected. Then Main 1 has also been affected somewhere in UK. So Main 1 is coming from Portugal. So they have been affected somewhere in the United Kingdom. So anybody else from that point on, all the way, has been affected. Then Sat3, which is mainly, owned by, in Ghana, it's Vodafone that we know, or Ghana Telecom that we know, that was Sat3. Sat3, I'm told the main challenge is actually some power issues. So it's not necessarily, with Sat3, it's not necessarily about a cut, but they are having some power issues. The nature of it, I'm not too sure, but then they are having some power issues. That is why they are having challenges on Telecel as well. Okay, but what? The one that MTN is on, and mind you, all the networks, including MTN and everybody, they all are connected to the various cables. But the main one that MTN is on, which is the wax cable, I'm told it's quite stable. My understanding is that one is quite stable. So there's not too much challenge on the wax. But because MTN has also got, connected to the various other cables, that's why we are also having challenges on MTN as well. Of course, AT connected to Main 1 and others. So that's what it is. But then, in terms of what the reactions that the telcos are having, definitely they have got other redundant, capacity. Some of them have restarts. Some of them are connected to other cables that have not been affected. So, but then where the challenge is the transition. Okay, because let me give you an example. One ISP, KNet, for instance, which send out a lot of heavy data like television, video, and stuff like that. Within 40 minutes, they have been able to transition from their connection on Main 1 to the Angola cable and other aspects. But then the telcos, because of their heavy load, because of they have a lot of customers, so the transitioning from the affected cable to the redundant cable, that is where the challenge is. That's why we are still having unstable services now on our telecom.
All right, we've got just 30 seconds. I just wanted to find out if we've witnessed anything like this in recent times, outages on submarine optic fiber cables, and based on your engagements with the experts, how soon is this likely to be resolved?
I think this one is a bit widespread because what we experienced some cut on wax some time ago. That one was kept back, so it affected only MTN customers at the time. Then we later on experienced some cut on Sat3, so then it affected Vodafone customers. But for us to have this kind of challenge where all the networks are affected at the same time, for me, I think this is the first time I'm listening to something like this. So that in short is the answer to your question.
All right. Thank you so much, Samuel Dowina there. I appreciate your insights this afternoon. Now, Minister for Transport, Kwawu Siama, has been summoned to provide urgent answers to members of Parliament over new charges by the Ghana Airports Company as maintenance fees. Starting the 1st of May 2024, travelers using the Kotoka International Airport in Kwawu will be required to pay a fee of $20 for maintenance work to help cover the cost of baggage belt repairs. A letter from the management of the GACL to the chairperson of the Airport Operators Committee of the Kotoka International Airport announced that the new fee will be implemented for travelers departing from the airport and will apply to all round-trip tickets. Well, MP for Tamale South, Haruna Idrisu, who raised the issue on the floor of Parliament, described the charge as illegal since the House has not approved it.
what authority does the Ghana Airport Company have to impose fees and charges? And is these charges consistent with the Fees and Charges Act approved by the Parliament of Ghana? So, Mr. Speaker, I've seen a letter Ghana Airports Company signed Yvonne Nana Afriye Opare, Mrs. Managing Director. And Mr. Speaker, I read it for the record. Further to discussions with the executives of Airport Operations Committee, AOC, regarding our baggage belt overhauling and maintenance issue, the Board of Directors of Ghana Airports Company, in consultation with Ministry of Transport, institutes maintenance charges of $20 on all-round airline trips and $12. Mr. Speaker, that will be cost to Ghanaian travelers from abroad to Ghana. Yeah, $20 on all-round air trips and $10 to be charged one way. And this fee will be effective May 1st, 2024. Mr. Speaker, I think that the Minister for Transport will have to be hauled by you to this House to explain the authority of the Ghana Airports Company and to explain to Ghanaians where he derives the authority and mandate from, and whether this is consistent with our Fees and Charges Act. We owe it to Ghanaians abroad and within, those of you who travel, that you should never be taken unaware on side charges. Mr. Speaker.
All right, Harun Idrisu there on the floor of Parliament. On the phone with us, Managing Editor of aviationghana.com, Dominic Andor. Good afternoon to you. Thanks for joining us, Dominic. What's the background to this? Why is the airport company having to effect these charges?
The background simply is that the airport company doesn't have enough resources now to undertake some maintenance at the airport. When we went to the airport, our investigation showed that the baggage carousel has issues. Some of the airway bridges have issues, but then from the look of things, they don't have the funds available now. The historical antecedent is that the airport company was able to get government to get them to keep the 100% of the airport passenger service tax they collect. So anybody that travels through KIA, especially international flights, you are paying about $100 in taxes minimum, and all that money stopped going to the Ministry of Finance and the Consolidated Fund. But the airport company, as a limited liability entity, was able to keep that money for itself. On the back of that, they were able to now negotiate a loan, which they contracted to build the terminal 3. So as part of our arrangement for the payment of these loans, the money they collect also go into an escrow account, the creditors take their part, and a little left comes to them. However, we also amended the law down the line, where part of this APSA is also given to Ghana Civil Aviation Authority. Part also goes to an institution called the AIB, Accident Investigation Bureau, and part also goes to Matthew that appeared before Parliament and said they were owed. So originally we had $100, and all the $100 was coming to you, but then the laws are amended and part also goes to other places. So it leaves them with very little money to operate their business per se. So the challenges now that they are faced with, I think it's also affecting airlines. For airlines, if you land on ground, the ground time or the turnaround time mostly for major international airlines is about 1 hour 45 minutes. And if the baggage carousel delay and other issues affect that, it means that your turnaround time will keep going up, you may fly late, and it affects the operation of the airline. So it's a proposal that, based on my sources, a proposal that was made by the airport company, and there was actually supposed to be a meeting tomorrow between the AOC, the Board of Airline Representatives, and the company to discuss this issue, to see whether they should really implement it in the first place, whether they should reduce it, or whether they should increase it, or they should find alternative means to generate some funding, probably go back to the shareholder of the company, which is government, to ask for some recapitalization of the company, etc. This was supposed to happen tomorrow, where the meeting to discuss this issue with the stakeholders was supposed to happen tomorrow. But I think this got out.
But speak of alternative means of raising revenue. What options does the company have?
The alternative means may be 2 or 3. 1, the company is a limited liability company. They borrowed on the back of his own balance sheet. If he wants, if it's now dry, you turn to the owner of the company, which is government, that meant recapitalizing. I remember 5 years ago under Obushi Saikopi, it was one of the agendas on one of the AGM to discuss recapitalization of the company. However, the AGM, they shelved that. But that has not been revisited since Obushi Saikopi said. But I don't know what has happened to that. Probably it's the time to revisit that topic, which came up 5 years ago, that the company needs to be recapitalized because it belongs to government anyway. So that's one option. The second option is what we discussed. We talk to the airlines, talk to passengers, talk to Parliament to see if they can do something for you under the Fees and Levies Act to see if you can generate a little more sticker operation. The third option may be, okay, the aeronautical revenues are limited because what you get, some go to their 3 agencies and you pay your debt for Terminal 3 with it. Then let's turn and look at non-aeronautical revenue. Can we do other investments around the airport that will give us money to augment what we generate from aeronautical revenue, to be able to do some of these maintenance activities? These are all options on the table that tomorrow's meeting will discuss.
Well, so right now, the Tamale South MP Haruna Idrisu has raised flags with this, is describing the charges as illegal because Parliament has not approved it. What are the chances that Parliament is going to okay this, do you think?
The $20 itself is a proposal that actually has not been firmed up yet. The proposal was that we should charge $20, and proposal was that let's start it on first meet. So all the stakeholders were going to meet tomorrow to deliberate on it, either accept or not. What is before Parliament, even before this one came, actually, is the domestic airfare one. On the domestic airfare side, when you are flying to Accra, Kumasi, Accra, Tamale, the charge on it is just 5 cents, and it's been like that for almost 1.5 decades. So airport company now, the limited funds they have from Kotoka Airport, they have to use some of that to also subsidize the operations of Tamale, Kumasi, Hu, and maintaining Tamale Airport alone is like 2 million a month. So the little money they get here, they have to use some to subsidize one. But the one before Parliament, if they pass the domestic one, where they increase from 5 cents to some other amount, then that will cater for all the domestic airports. Then the little they generate from Kotoka can stay in Kotoka and they can use it to maintain Kotoka. So for the $20, there was a proposal that they were going to sit on it and look at it tomorrow. But it's not something that has gone before Parliament to approve for them to implement. So probably after the meeting tomorrow, we'll know the outcome of it.
All right. I mean, for the airlines, I can imagine this is cool, right? It's going to help the air travel experience. But for the passengers, I don't know what the reaction would be. What are the likely implications of this on air travel, this $20 charge if it pulls through?
Okay, essentially, for this $20, even if it's approved, but if it was in Parliament and was approved, it has to go through a series of steps before it's finally allowed in. The IATA system will have to come in because they pay all this money through IATA Clearinghouse, the International Air Transport Association Clearinghouse. So you have to properly codify the tax. What is it? Is it a levy? Is it a tax? When you have exhausted all that process before you implement any amount you want to charge, even if it was approved by Parliament, that's how they properly code it. So that when somebody pays for a ticket, no matter where they are, it goes to the IATA Clearinghouse. They know how to properly capture it and who to pay it to. For passengers, it means that, let's say if you are 4 brothers, you want to travel, and then your senior brother is buying tickets for all 4 of you. It means increase in cost, basically, if it is allowed to happen. But it's just a proposal. But if there's any increase at all, it affects business because the passenger has to pay more for the same trip, etc., if it is allowed to happen. But ultimately, I think that their meeting from tomorrow will advise us whether they will reduce it, they will shelve it, or use any of the other options that we looked at going forward.
That plays out when that meeting happens and when the Transport Minister also faces Parliament to answer questions over this. Thank you so much, Dominic Andor, Managing Editor, Aviation Ghana. I appreciate your time. Well, it's that time of the week we mix business with politics, and Ghana and the #1 producer, Ivory Coast, are in the midst of their worst harvest in years, as both countries have their cocoa beans arrivals trimmed significantly. Before the beginning of the current crop season, the Ghanaian government decided to up the price per bag of cocoa by almost 64%. However, post-harvest losses, smuggling and galamsey, as well as inadequate purchasing funds, have resulted in lower beans purchases compared to last year. I'm joined by Senior Data and Research Analyst here at Joy News, Isaac Kofeje, who has been looking at the statistics. He's here to share some details and the political cost, on what the political cost could be. And so, first of all, I'd like for you to explain to us, Isaac, what went wrong.
September 2023, that was when the government came out to announce a 63.5% increment in the price per bag of cocoa. And this was supposed to, serve as an incentive for farmers to produce and then also help government achieve their yield for the 2023-2024 crop season. But what happened is that even before the increment, we saw that there was an analytical report by Bloomberg which sought to sound the alarm bells that government or Ghana was going to have a reduction in their projected yield in the 2023-2024 planting season as a result of, galamsey activities, or what we call the illegal mining activities happening in areas where it used to be places where cocoa farms were actually, stationed. And so, based on this report, there were projections that Ghana's cocoa yield was actually going to fall. And per the current report we have, not just Ghana, but neighboring countries like Ivory Coast are all facing difficulties in terms of reaching or meeting the demand and supply challenges. But another thing that happened, or what has caused this problem, is as a result of our inability to get the cocoa syndicated loan ahead of time, because that was going to help government to purchase the cocoa beans ahead of time. But because there was a delay, we saw that some farmers started smuggling their goods, and then there were also farmers who decided to even hoard. And at the moment, we are having a difference between demand and supply causing that shortage.
And what has been the impact of the shortage on the global scale?
Well, so on the global scale, what is happening is that cocoa products are now becoming expensive. So, for instance, in the U.S., there was some comparative studies that was done, and then you could see that some cocoa products had experienced about 11% or 4% increment in their price over the period. And so that's the global impact. But what is happening in the domestic space is that processing companies are now providing incentives to farmers. So they are getting the cocoa beans at the farm gate, and they are not allowing government institutions to get the cocoa for them to also get it. So what is happening is that the processing companies have now taken it upon themselves to put premium on the beans so that the farmers can give it to them at the gate, also the demand and supply pool or what we are actually seeing happening.
All right, so the price of a bag of cocoa has gone up by 63%, but the government has not been able to export more beans, and so it makes you wonder if the decision to increase the price was just a political move. Is there any political capital lost as a result of this?
Well, so I would say that this was actually a political policy that actually went wrong, because we've been looking at the data and we realized that getting to election years, what government does is that they increase the price per bag of cocoa by a certain magnitude. And per the studies we've done, usually they do that to be able to win votes, because you find the cocoa farmers in the rural areas, one farmer, for instance, has a family size of 6 or 5, and so you see that effect. But if you look at the data in 2016-2015, so what they do is that they decide not to increase the price per bag over a period, and getting closer to the election year, A year before the election year, they do a 21% increment, and the election year itself, they do a 60% increment. And so in this year, for instance, last year, or from 2017 to now, we saw that for 2 years, cocoa prices per bag did not go up. The increment or the change was zero. The first time we saw that the price went up was before or during the 2020 election year, where prices were increased by some 20%. And this time around, government is hoping to has actually increased the price by 63.8%, hoping to cash in or gain some political capital there.
Okay.
But it's not really working because they were not able to get the needed purchasing capital funds to be able to get that money to start buying the cocoa beans ahead of time. And so as a result of the restructuring that we are doing on both domestic and external fronts, investors were not so certain, and that caused a delay in us getting the syndicated loan. And so per the analysis, they may not probably be able to capitalize on that agenda, because that's what they do. They increase the price during election year by that huge magnitude, hoping to cash in on that.
All right. Thanks so much. Kofi J there. He is Senior Data Analyst here at the Multimedia Group. And that's it for the marketplace. Thanks for watching, everyone. More news on our website. If you're able to log on, myjoyonline.com/business. See you same time tomorrow.